Today I will show you how to win chess quickly. We play for black. Your opponent makes his first move with the king's pawn on e4. We put the queen's pawn on d5. We will play Scandinavian defense. What happens next according to theory? The white pawn takes our pawn. You do not take the pawn on d5 with the queen. Bring the knight to f6 and our knight attacks the d5 pawn. Your opponent will very often defend this pawn with his second pawn and put the pawn on c4. He defended the pawn on d5. Plus he opened the way for the queen, who can make a dangerous check to your king at any moment. What do we do next? We just put our pawn on c6. Your opponent will of course take your pawn. You will take the pawn with your knight. And then the white queen always moves here on a4. The queen tied our knight with our king. That is, our horse cannot go anywhere yet. What next we do here? We just put the king's pawn on e5. The white knight will definitely move to f3. The white knight attacks our defenseless pawn since our knight bound does not protect this pawn. What do we do next? We must as it were defend this pawn, but here we are making at first glance a very stupid move. We put our bishop on g4 and attack the white knight. Although the question is why some senseless move should be attacked, but it is imperative to make this move. Then you will understand why. Your opponent of course simply takes our pawn on e5 with his knight. Therefore, this move seems to be meaningless. And then we make another senseless and stupid move. We put the queen on d4. While white meanwhile has two blows on our knight, which is on c6. And your opponent of course will understand that you are playing poorly and of course will take our knight on c6 with his knight. And if you suddenly take the knight with a pawn, then the queen will move to c6 check and you will also lose the rook. That is a complete defeat for us will be here on the queen's side. But it was a trap. And now after your opponent has taken our knight on c6 with your knight, you simply put your queen on e4. And check the white king. White has the only possible move that he can make is to cover himself with his bishop. There are no other moves here. And you simply place a guaranteed checkmate with your queen. Checkmate. Here is a very interesting trap in the Scandinavian defense. I personally use it often. It is actually very easy to apply. That is, you simply do not take this central pawn. Usually there is a defense with the second pawn. Usually the queen always moves to a4 and the sequence of moves is not important here. In principle there could be a slightly different sequence, but the structure will turn out just like that. And when your opponent sees this weakness on c6, he will definitely take advantage of it and take the knight on c6 with his knight. Since he has two blows, the knight and the queen will be repeated. And if you were still stupid, or you would have put a pawn there, that is, you would have taken the check here and that's it. You lose the rook, you lose the game. But since you know this trap, you first put the bishop on g4 and the queen on d4. And at the expense of the bishop and queen you simply put a guaranteed checkmate. That is, after the queen is on e4 you understand that there is a guaranteed checkmate. Since the king has no escape routes. Here your bishop is overlapping, here there was a white bishop and therefore the only thing they can cover is the bishop and you just checkmate. Everybody be sure to learn this trap and apply it in your games. All for now. Play chess. And remember, every chess master was once a beginner.